Sue, thanks for taking the time just to talk with me about this vision that you've had. And perhaps first you'd explain or talk to us a little bit about what that vision was and how that unfolded for you.
Okay. Well, I saw a dry open field which had lots of oil drills that were drilling into the ground, and oil was spurting out of these. Some were small and some were bigger, and some were gushing oil from the source underground. And then all this oil was coming together, and it was flowing out of the field, and then I saw the town of St Helens, and all this oil was flowing through the streets of St Helens. It was going quite fast, like a stream through the town, and then I heard what can only be described as a whooshing sound, and all this oil was alight, so I asked God, where did the fire come from? Because it was just full of all I could see was streets that were on fire, and God said it was a spark. So and I said, well, where did the spark come from? And he said it was the prayers of the saints. It was the prayers of the saints.
Right. Wow. So we've got oil running through the streets of the town, and then this whoosh that you saw or heard rather, and it sparked into flame.
Yeah, it was all on fire. It was just like straight through. It obviously started from somewhere, and just spread the way through the town.
Did that? It's interesting. Did that seem a sort of a destructive thing, or was it getting the buildings on either side and destroying, or was it just that this was a light in the streets?
It was just through the streets.
Right.
It was just right the way through the streets, not the buildings. It was right through the streets.
Right. So then, understandably, you said, God, what's this all about?
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a spark from somewhere. Did you see the spark?
No, I didn't see the spark. I just saw the flames. Yeah. But that's at the point that I wondered where or what had started this fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so tell me again what it was that God said about that.
When I asked God, he said, I asked him, what started the fire? And he said, a spark. And so I asked him, well, where did the spark come from? And that's what he said. Twice he said, it's the prayers of the saints. The prayers of the saints.
The prayers of the saints was the spark that got the oil burning. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you think CLC is involved in this?
I think it was coming from the church.
Right.
Because it was coming down. I could see Duke Street definitely.
Right.
It was right across there. It definitely came from the church.
Right. Right. So it's coming from the church. It's coming from our church. There's a spark. The spark, God says, is the prayers of the saints. Yeah. What, in your view, is God saying to us in this?
I would say that initially I would think it's about unity of purpose, and that we are praying more. Right. That we bring the town to prayer more than perhaps we have done, and that we do need to be closer and deeper in the spirit individually, and that we can draw together. And out of that, the Spirit will flow from what we are taking in. We'll be able to give out.
Yeah, right.
I also want to say over this house that this is an apostolic center. I think you should stop calling yourself a church. I believe that God is raising around the world apostolic centers. And why are they different than churches? Well, churches tend to be very kind of inward looking. They tend to be very insular in their perspective, very, self-gratifying in their order of things. And I believe apostolic centers are places where we are commissioned in mission to reach out to the world around us, that God is raising up people who are more passionate about what happens outside the church even than they are about what happens inside the church. I believe the greater glory of God's presence and his power is going to be demonstrated on the streets and in homes and in workplaces and colleges, in schools, all around this area. And so we must take our eyes off our needs at this season. We must start to embrace what the Spirit of God is doing. Why has he chosen St. Helens, and why has he chosen this church, and why has he chosen Philip, Barbara, and Adam and the team here to be raised up as an apostolic center? Well, I'll tell you why. Because in the 94-95 outpouring of the Holy Spirit, this house, this place became a reservoir for the river of God. God began to pour himself into this house, and there were many other churches who did not embrace what the Holy Spirit was doing, but this house did. And we had tons of questions about it, but we knew God was up to something, and we were just after God. And so this house opened up its heart and opened up its arms and said, "Come, Holy Spirit." And there's a reservoir in this house of the Holy Spirit. And all it needs is for us to just accept this now present move of Holy Spirit, because God is doing some phenomenal things. He really is. The church has never been in a more glorious time, trust me. I know for some of us the glory years are in the past, but trust me, they're now in the present. You know, the latter house is going to be greater than that of the former. I'll wait for you to catch up. Is that okay? Your best days are yet to come. The biggest miracles are yet to come. The greatest outpouring for the harvest is yet to come. There are going to come a time in this house where people are going to be asking you, "What is it about you? I need what you have." All these years of trying to connect with people, you know, we have made some mistakes in that, I'm sure. I know I have. But I believe that God is opening up this well, this reservoir where the Holy Spirit has been, and he is increasing our capacity to contain what he is doing. We must be flexible wineskins in this season.
This is for everybody, so if you can all stand. I picked up two objects. I'm slightly cheating. But the first one is just the name. It's nothing other than the name, which is a spirit level. And I felt God say the spirit level of what he's doing in this church is going to increase, first of all. And the second thing is, this is a pair of binoculars. And I felt like, as a church, you've been looking through the wrong way and seeing something far off. And God was saying, turn it round and look the right way, because it's right in front of you. And I felt it was like a breakout of what God's about to do in this city here. And you've been thinking it's far off, and he's saying he's going to turn your perspective round, because it's right in front of your eyes and it's much nearer than you think. So the spirit level is going to increase, and you're going to see stuff happen much quicker than you anticipated.